Morning San Antonio starts right now.
As we start your day, we have a tropical storm headed towards the Texas coast this morning. Here's a live look at Corpus Christi. Not much going on right now, but we'll get Harold's forecast track coming up.
Former President Donald Trump set to surrender this week in the 2020 Georgia election interference case. I'm ABC's Justin Finch with the details of the deal his lawyer struck with Georgia authorities.
And let's look out there with live cam this morning. 83 degrees for now, but we are excited about a chance of rain later today.
And a good morning to you. It's Tuesday, August 22nd.
Hey, we hope you had a wonderful Monday. It got hot enough, and now we're ready for some relief.
Clouds will help. Rain would help a lot more as we take a live look at some of the radar images right now. Some of those bands now coming ashore. Mike Osterhage is here with more on Tropical Storm Harold.
Yeah, it gained a little bit of strength yesterday, obviously, and it's going to be moving onshore just to the south of Corpus Christi, as you can see in that picture. And yeah, it is going to hold temperatures down. We are going to be seeing some rain. Not everybody's going to be getting a whole bunch. This is not going to be a drought buster, but we'll take anything at this point. So let's just kind of stand back and just feast our eyes on that beautiful picture right there with that rain that is continuing to work its way onshore. And the center of the storm, like I said, will make landfall later on this morning, but you can see some of those thunderstorms that are moving on in. So we're starting to see some rain there right around Corpus Christi. And here's the latest numbers. Winds 45 miles per hour, gusting to 60, and it will continue in that path, like I said, going to the west, and that will take it onshore over the course of the rest of the morning, and it will make landfall as a tropical storm, I should say, and then it will obviously weaken and continue off into northern Mexico. Now, as it does move across the area, obviously it's going to be bringing the rain with it. We'll have later on this morning, I think morning commute is going to be rain-free. There may be some showers well down to the southeast. The rain, the heaviest is going to be obviously down to the south. Has changed all that much, maybe a little bit further up to the north, but you'll be seeing a couple of inches. Actually, too much rain is going to be, in some cases, a problem down to the south. All that rain will continue to work its way off to the west. The heaviest period is probably going to be early afternoon as it starts to develop. The other thing we have to watch out for as this moves onshore in that counterclockwise rotation, and this is very common with tropical systems like this, on the outer bands, it kind of, as the wind scrapes across the ground, simple way to put it, might have a little tiny spin-up tornado. So that'll just be something very few and far between, if at all, but just something that we're going to have to keep in mind with this. Now, there's also wind advisories in our western and southern counties today, and red flag warnings. Now, they're not as widespread as what we've seen, but that does include some of our northern counties. It's still going to be very high fire danger, and of course up to the north is where there's going to be little to no rain at all. Mold is on the low side from yesterday's count, and today is a green energy day, so we're not going to have that intense heat. So at least the electric grid gets a bit of a break today. You can scan the QR code for more ways to conserve energy. 90 at noon, 94 high temperature. A couple of storms. I do have that mention in the forecast of a spin-up tornado just in case that does pop up. Now, after this, well, it will be back to the triple digits. We haven't seen the end of those as of yet, but we'll still have a couple of rain chances down the road. Details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Steph, Mark.
Thank you, Mike. This morning, a man is facing a murder charge in a deadly shooting that happened yesterday. So we have video of 20-year-old Jakarian Walker. Now, police say he shot and killed a man around 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon. It happened outside a gas station on FM 78 near Loop 410 and Benz Engelman Road. Officers tell us it happened during an argument about money.
Well, you might remember this video. The former San Antonio police officer accused of shooting a teenager in a McDonald's parking lot is facing multiple charges in connection to that shooting. He was back in court yesterday. James Brennan is accused of shooting 17-year-old Eric Cantu multiple times. Bexar County Assistant District Attorney Daryl Harris says the body cam video supports the charges.
The video that was released speaks for itself, and we believe it violates law, and we're pursuing it that way.
A grand jury has now indicted Brennan on 2 counts of aggravated assault by a public servant and 1 count of attempted murder. This morning, former President Donald Trump has announced he is surrendering to Atlanta area authorities coming up on Thursday.
Fulton County prosecutors say that former President Trump was at the center of a conspiracy to overturn his Georgia election defeat. And as ABC's Justin Finch reports, Trump also confirmed he is not appearing at tomorrow's first 2024 Republican presidential debate.
In Atlanta, attorneys for former President Donald Trump striking a deal with the Fulton County prosecutor to surrender at the county jail Thursday for fingerprinting and his mugshot photo. The agreement calls for Trump to be released on $200,000 bond and with clear-cut conditions. Trump can make no direct or indirect threat towards any potential witnesses, including his 18 alleged co-conspirators. That provision also including posts on social media or reposts of posts made by another individual. Trump's defense lawyers, a judge, and top Fulton County prosecutor Fani Willis signing off on those terms. Last week, Willis handed down an indictment accusing Trump of orchestrating a scheme to reverse his 2020 election loss to Joe Biden. $100,000 bonds were set for Trump attorneys John Eastman and Kenneth Chesborough, who were also due to surrender at the Fulton jail this week. Sources tell ABC News Trump pre-taped an interview with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson to run head-to-head against tomorrow's first 2024 Republican presidential debate in Milwaukee. Trump on social media posting that he's not attending, adding the public knows who I am and what a successful presidency I had. I will, therefore, not be doing the debates. His rivals pouncing.
He's a coward. If I had his record, I'd be nervous about showing up too.
Nobody is entitled to anything in this world, less of all the Republican nomination for president.
And the new NBC News Des Moines Register Mediacom poll finds 42% of likely Iowa caucus goers backing Trump as their first choice for president, with DeSantis following at 19% and 7 other candidates holding single-digit support. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Dozens of cows were found dead in Brazoria County, south of Houston, and the district attorney's office says a criminal investigation is now underway. Investigators say around 40 cows were found without water on an 850-acre property and appear to have died from dehydration. A neighbor had noticed the cows were starting to die last Friday. The owner, who has not been charged with animal cruelty, still could be if an animal autopsy confirms the cause of death. On Thursday, a property hearing will determine if the county seizes the 60 or so remaining living cows.
More than 8,500 daily heat records have been broken across the U.S. in the last 30 days. That's according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It expects at least 444 more daily heat records to be broken this week. Unlike the recent heat waves, which have largely spared the Midwest, near 100-degree temperatures will stretch as far north as Minneapolis and Chicago. Afternoon heat indices in those locations are likely to reach 110 to 115. More than 100 million people are under heat alerts from the Gulf Coast to the Midwest eastward into the Ohio Valley. Right now, 438, 83 degrees.
When the warmer weather finally starts to go away, mosquitoes are coming, and you're going to want to be ready for them. Many usually use those chemical repellents, but up next, we're going to check out just how effective the natural versions are.
Let's take a look at TransSky, see how things are looking out there in this early Tuesday morning. No problems to report. I-37, and there's I-10 at the Y.
And taking a look outside with live cam, still starting our day 80 degrees, but looking forward to a break today, this Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Right now, it's even too hot for mosquitoes. However, bug experts say once the temperatures go down, mosquitoes will be more likely to bite and spread disease.
Protection is key. So 12 on your sides, Marilyn Moritz looks at what works.
The idea of using a bug repellent with natural ingredients or Googling a homemade recipe might seem appealing, but that could be a risky move.
Mosquitoes and ticks can spread really dangerous diseases like West Nile virus and Lyme, so it's super important that you use an insect repellent that actually works.
Year after year, Consumer Reports tests a lot of insect repellents, including many with natural ingredients, and every time the results are similar. The most effective repellents contain 25 to 30% DEET.
Our tests also found that some non-DEET repellents, like those containing 30% oil of lemon eucalyptus or 20% picaridin, also worked, though not quite as consistently as DEET.
Here are two they recommend: 3M Ultrathon Insect Repellent 8 and Ben's Tick and Insect Repellent Wilderness Formula Pump. Both aced their bug bite tests. But what about the products you don't actually put on your skin? Do those work?
When it comes to things like citronella candles, wristbands, and sonic repellents, there's just very little evidence that shows any of these things really work.
What does help keep mosquitoes and ticks away? Keep your yard free of containers with standing water. Another easy way to keep the bugs away from you is just turn on an oscillating fan. It creates air movement and keeps you cool too. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
443, 83 degrees.
Coming up next, a first look at a new report that shows a surprising number of close calls at airports over the past year and why this keeps happening. Welcome back. It's 4:45. A new investigation reveals there have been more near misses between commercial airlines than previously reported. ABC's Victor Okendo has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, airport close calls. A stunning new report in the New York Times showing there were about 300 reports of close calls in the last year and at least 46 incidents in the last month alone.
The New York Times is looking at NASA databases that's bringing to light some of these incidents that haven't been publicly known.
From this Delta plane almost colliding with an American Airlines flight that was on the wrong runway at JFK in January.
Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance.
To another incident just a month later in Austin.
Southwest abort. FedEx is on the go.
A FedEx cargo plane coming within 100 feet of a Southwest flight packed with passengers. So why does this keep happening? Coming up at 7 a.m., Robin Roberts goes one-on-one with Miracle on the Hudson pilot and aviation expert Captain Sully Sullenberger in a live interview. With your GMA First Look, I'm Victor Okendo, ABC News, Miami.
Back here at home, the Pearl, Southtown, downtown, there are several entertainment districts around San Antonio, and now what was once a historic car dealership is preparing to open this coming fall.
And as Max Massey explains, the plan is that the seemingly unused area over the years will bring new economic stimulus to Lower Broadway.
I think it's going to be potentially transformational for this area.
You may know David Galbraith from his restaurant Order Up. Well, he will now be one of the new tenants here at Make Ready.
Within Make Ready, the building, it's a food-focused concept. And so we've got 10 different vendors coming in here.
For this area, it's so much more than food.
We just want to make a community, community around us, community around what's already been here, and just kind of partnering up with everybody and bringing people to this area.
Jessica Parr is the general manager of the new brewery Idol, another big element of the space.
It's not a competition of the Pearl. We are our own thing, but it's another option. We don't have too many options here in this area in general, so having another option is so important.
As you can see, foot traffic is already starting to pick up at this Make Ready complex. The construction is still underway, but really the complex, it gives a nod to the history of the area.
As part of the Cadillac dealership to the Cavender Zone, this is where they took the cars right before handing them back to their customers. And so they're making them ready to deliver back.
And of course, with the new businesses, jobs, and entertainment areas here on Lower Broadway, the goal was for this foot traffic to translate to more opportunity.
You're creating jobs and you create that virtuous cycle of job creation, activity, and the more people you get in a place, the better it is for the overall vibrancy.
As for Jessica and David, they are anxiously awaiting to open their doors.
Walls are going up and we'll be ready to go this fall. There's not a definite opening date yet, but hopefully October-ish, everybody will be ready to go.
Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
A quick check of the roads with TransSky looking over at I-35 at Loop 410 where things are moving. Also at I-35 at New Braunfels Avenue. Good news there.
We were watching Tropical Storm Harold this morning.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's going to be a nice rain producer, especially down in the south. A couple of inches of rain in our southern counties. Not as much here. And this is, again, it's not going to be a dropper. It's just a nice relief. Anything is going to help out. Plus, temperatures will be 12 degrees lower than yesterday.
There's the winner for people that don't get any rain today.
You're right. It's worth it.
Yeah, everybody. We don't have heat advisories in effect today or excessive heat warnings in effect. So we've got some clouds moving in here right now. I had some clear skies when I was walking out the back door this morning. Over there 10 at 410, and the morning commute is going to be staying dry. We'll have some showers well down to the southeast, as you can see. This is a live look at Authority radar, and this band of thunderstorms is working its way in just about from Corpus Christi and not quite into Kingsville as of yet. And notice how it is moving pretty much straight to the west, and that's going to be the basically overall movement of this to the west, maybe a little bit of a northwestwardly flavor to it, and that obviously means that the greatest rain potential is going to be well down to our south. Here's another look at the satellite picture with some of the clouds that are moving on in here, and a nice view of this storm and that counterclockwise rotation. What I was talking about also earlier, right off the top of the show, the outer bands right here, as this moves on shore and you get those winds that kind of, best way to describe it, scrape across the ground, and you might get little spin-up tornadoes on the outer bands of this. So that's what we're going to have to watch out for. It's not very likely at all. They are very, very weak little spin-ups, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. Here's the computer model right now throughout the rest of the morning. Again, morning commute here in town. We're going to dry, maybe a couple of showers down here to the south. All this will continue to work its way basically to the west, and it's going to be noon, early afternoon when we see the most widespread and some of the heavier rain. And of course, that's going to be pretty much down to the south. A couple of thunderstorms mixed in as well, and then that will be coming to an end. Of course, up in the hill country, you're going to be seeing maybe a quarter inch of rain at best, but 2-4 inches and some heavier downpours even down to the south as this continues to work its way on through here. So the forecast this morning, maybe a couple of showers, and again, we're talking down to the southeast this morning. That's what's taking into account the chance of rain right there. We'll make it up to 90 today at noon. Rain chances continue to increase. Again, leaning down toward the south. We'll have some here in town, though. And then, boy, it's nice to see no triple digits on this graphic. 94 high temperature then later on today. And as far as going into the future, we are going to be, first of all, getting back up to triple-digit temperatures, but also we'll have a chance for a couple of showers and thunderstorms to stray one here or there, not any organized systems, but we're not going to have that lock on things as far as the high is concerned. So one or two of them over the weekend, still triple digits though. But today, again, it's nice rain, especially down to the south. And it's going to start to pick up late morning and into early afternoon.
Today's my watering day, so I'm trying to decide, do I water at all or do I wait and see what happens?
Well, with the way the aquifer is, I'd say wait and see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Then you get the free lawn watering.
Okay. Or wait a whole week before I actually
exactly.
get a chance at actually anything liquid on my lawn. 452, 83 degrees.
So maybe a good time to see a movie. Up next, how you can take advantage of National Cinema Day and cheaper movie tickets.
5 till 5, the man behind the iconic voice of Super Mario is retiring. Plus, there's a new #1 song on the Billboard charts.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
I've been selling my soul, working all day.
A major chart record for a song that's captured the mood for many in the U.S. right now. Oliver Anthony's Rich Men North of Richmond debuts at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart, thanks to it going viral online. And he's the first artist to ever debut at #1 without any chart history to his name. The song has struck a working-class chord, but also turned some off with lyrics about overweight people being on welfare. Anthony has said the song isn't meant to be divisive. Thanks to the success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, many think of Chris Pratt as the voice of Mario, but in the video games, it's actually been Charles Martinet for decades. And now he's stepping down. Nintendo of America saying Martinet will now serve as a Mario ambassador, representing the character around the world at conventions and events. Martinet also voiced Mario's brother Luigi and other characters in the game. No official word why he's stepping down or who will replace him. This Sunday, a cheap way to see Barbenheimer or any other movie you want, it's National Cinema Day. $4 movie tickets at most theaters in the U.S. Last year was the first year of the event, and it was the highest attended day of the year in theaters.
When the night's here, I don't do tears, baby, no chill.
And Dua Lipa's Barbie song Dance the Night is currently a top 10 hit on the charts, and today's her birthday. She's 28. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And it's time now. It's 4:57 and 83 degrees for now.
A scary situation on the northeast side for a bus driver and students on board this school bus. It fell through a street. What the San Antonio water system is saying about it this morning and how it happened.
And a quick check of the roads with TransGuide, looking over at Loop 410 at McCullough, where things are moving right now. Our Stephen Cavazos is in the studio. We're going to check with him very soon.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Tropical Storm Harold is at the Texas coast this morning. Here's a live look at Corpus Christi. We'll get the storm's forecast track coming up.
Plus, how fire crews in Medina County are getting a 400-acre fire under control under extreme conditions.
And any rain we get from Harold could be a game changer around here. Not necessarily a drought breaker, but anything will help at this point. Good morning, everybody. It's 5 o'clock on your Tuesday, August 22nd.
Hi, happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. And gosh, we're just looking forward to a change. And for those who may not get rain, at least a temperature drop.
Harold is our main weather headline this morning, Mike Osterhage.
Yes, indeed. And unfortunately, it's kind of a double-edged sword. And I don't mean to put a damper on things, no pun intended here, but it's also going to be kicking up the winds. And where there's not any rain today, especially up in the hill country, windier conditions, so still a very high and actually even a higher fire danger up in portions of the hill country today. 83 degrees right now, and dew point stands at 70. So it's starting off just about like every other morning for, well, as far back as memory serves us. But look at that. Only 94 today for a high temperature, actually a little bit below the normal high temperature and more than 10 below yesterday's record-setting 105. The aquifer yesterday dropped down 0.3 of a foot. We're not going to get a heck of a lot of rain, if at all, in the recharge zone, and then mold is on the low side. All right, speaking of which, let's take a look at authority radar right now, and as you can see, that beautiful rain that is just making its way onshore down around Corpus Christi and places on south, and there just about the center of circulation. So the center of, yes, it did become a tropical storm, 45-mile-per-hour winds right now of Harold is going to continue to work its way basically straight to the west. You can see this band of thunderstorms right there as well. Numbers, like I said, 45-mile-per-hour winds and gusting to 60. It continues its westward path throughout the rest of the morning and then is going to move just about, well, kind of west-northwestwardly throughout the course of the day. So the heaviest rain obviously is going to be associated with the center of that circulation as it works its way across here. I was talking about the winds. Wind advisories are posted for later on today, noon up until 7 o'clock, and doesn't include Bexar County, but out 90 and then down to the south and southwest. And then, of course, we do have red flag warnings. Now, it's not covering the entire area like it has been, but it's further up to the north. And with those breezier conditions, you're not really going to see anything as far as rain up there to the north. That high fire danger does exist. So here it is this morning. A couple of showers down to the southeast. Commute here in town is going to be on the dry side this morning. Then we'll start to see a few of those showers developing. Again, the majority of the rain is well down to the south, where we're going to be seeing a few inches, maybe a quarter inch here in town. So obviously not much. We'll take anything, though. And then this afternoon, showers and storms low to mid 90s, as you saw. A spin-up tornado is possible as that works its way across inland and it's still spinning. That's when you can get some of those little tiny spin-up tornadoes on the outer bands of a tropical system like that. It's not uncommon. It's not anything that we're going to see a bunch of them, but just something to keep in mind. Then behind that, triple digits for the rest of the week. But a couple of stray showers are going to be popping up here or there, at least the chance of it by this weekend. Details coming up in a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen, good morning, sir. What's going on the roads?
You know, one of the things I think about, Mike, is the fact that it hasn't rained in so long that the dirt and oil has built up on the roadways. It could make for a tricky commute wherever those showers land. So just remember to drive safe out there. As we take a look here, though, as Mike said, the commute is going to be dry here in town, and that's exactly what we're seeing. I-10 at the Y, not a lot of traffic this morning. The first people that I talked to as soon as I get here to the station are our friends at TransGuide, and we did at least have one crash that was reported overnight. That is already cleared out, and you could see the commute for the most part will be pretty quiet if you have to hit the roads in the next few minutes or so. But just be on the lookout because we do have at least one stalled vehicle reported right here at I-10 westbound. It's not too far from Crossroads Boulevard, so just watch out and make sure you check your vehicles before your commute does get moving. Taking a look at some of these travel times, let's take a look here, and you can see 37 northbound. It's a pleasant drive if you're heading in from Pleasanton this early in the morning. US 90 eastbound, it's about 30 minutes if you are traveling in from Castroville, and that arrival from Lytle along I-35 northbound should be about 16 minutes. So we're not seeing any delays just yet, but the morning is just getting moving for a lot of these folks out there. I'll have more updates for you coming up a little bit later on in the newscast. Steph.
Thank you, Stephen. A scary situation for a bus driver and the few students on board a Judson school bus. It was dropping off students when it fell through the street. This happened yesterday in a northeast side cul-de-sac. The Judson ISD bus was eventually pulled out by a couple of wreckers. The district says that 2 students were on board at the time, but they are both okay. Those who live in the area say this was a moment that should have never happened.
Leak from the water, whatever pipes are in the road, and it's usually not bad, but now it's gotten worse and SAWS has ignored it. This call was made, 2-3 days ago, and it just got progressively worse, and we did not miss out on calling each and every day.
We asked the San Antonio water system about the reported leak. A SAWS spokeswoman says a water main break caused a trench to collapse. It was scheduled for repair on Sunday night, but the crews were busy with higher priority calls. SAWS says it has 52 crews working 24/7 on water leaks and water main breaks. It had 729 of those last month. August is expected to peak at 940 breaks and leaks.
Extremely dry vegetation, high wind, and rough terrain. Medina County fire crews say they all played a part in helping brush fires spread and reignite. These are images shared by the emergency crews on the front lines. The Stead fire near County Road 265 and State Highway 2676 has been burning on and off for over a week. It's about 400 acres and is mostly contained this morning. Crews from the entire county and state support have been called in to help.
Everything we can do right now to prevent these fires is vitally important. Just look across the state, look at our burn map.
No homes have been lost, but fire crews say there are still risks. Their only hope now is that rain arrives soon.
City of San Antonio and several local churches and organizations will receive federal funding to help with migrants. The San Antonio Food Bank and the city received the biggest grants locally from the Department of Homeland Security. Its Shelter and Services program distributed more than $77 million to 53 recipients from 13 states in Washington, D.C. That includes $5.4 million in San Antonio. The money will help cover costs for migrants going through immigration proceedings.
Now to the record rainfall causing big problems in parts of the U.S. Southwest.
Floods and mudslides trapped people in homes and cars in Southern California. And as ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports, the flooding threat in some areas could last for days.
This morning, people across Southern California and Nevada drying out and digging out after a rare tropical storm dumped record amounts of rain, creating this muddy mess. Small creeks transformed into raging rivers, carrying tree trunks and boulders, some areas getting more than a foot of rain. In nearby Oak Glen, the only bridge out of town is now buried in feet of mud.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of work to get out or to get the bridge down again. They'll probably have to bring a backhoe in or something.
Some 700 people rescued in the mountain town of Seven Oaks, mud washing into the fire station, and near Palm Springs, which saw its wettest August day on record, a giant front loader had to be called in to rescue at least a dozen people at an assisted living facility stranded by mud.
Nearly all the low-lying areas in this desert valley are filled with water and mud, including the interstate. This is the 10, which has been shut down or crawling since the heaviest rains came in yesterday.
In the desert town of Cathedral City, at least 46 rescues reported. Crews responded to 1,800 emergencies in the region. The flooding threat in some areas could last for days as rainwater washes down mountainsides. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Time now, 5:08, 83 degrees.
And just ahead, how Tesla is better integrating your iPhone into its system so you can have more control of your vehicle.
Plus, President Biden reacts to the devastation left behind in Hawaii by those deadly wildfires. Up next, Biden's new promise from the federal government.
Taking a look out there with live cam, again starting our day in the 80s, but looking forward to not being so hot this afternoon. We'll be checking in with Mike for all those details coming up.
Now back to the fire disaster on Maui. The death toll rising overnight to 115.
However, this morning, a new and remarkable story of survival from a man forced to sleep on the beach for 1 week, unable to contact his family. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has more.
I couldn't believe what I saw. Everything was burned to the ground.
Philip Huddleston is sharing his harrowing story of survival. He escaped the Maui inferno on a scooter and spent days in the harsh elements.
No, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, man, I'll just sit on the beach. I sat there for a week. I got one of the chairs from the hotels, one of the lounge chairs. As soon as the sun went down, I would just jump into my place to sleep.
Wildfires swept through his community of Lahaina, destroying his home and leaving him with no way to contact family. His sister flew to the island, finding her brother after she provided a DNA sample.
I felt the best thing I could do was come out here, and it was the best thing I did. And sure enough, here he is.
Their story bringing hope to others during the difficult recovery. President Biden toured the devastation yesterday and spent 70 minutes speaking with people at a community event in Lahaina.
The country grieves with you, stands with you, and will do everything possible to help you recover, rebuild, and respect culture and tradition.
Signs of normalcy are emerging. It's back to school here at Maui Prep, which is welcoming 100 new students displaced or impacted by the fire. It's the only school in West Maui still open, a welcome step in the road to recovery. Among all the tragic stories, glimmers of hope persist.
I feel overwhelmed. I feel loved. And it's so good to finally get in contact with my family and let them know I was okay. I feel blessed. It's a happy ending.
There's happy endings still.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
514, 83 degrees.
Up next, how Twitter is fixing a problem that deleted thousands of images.
Plus, how Snapchat is expanding further into generative AI.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
National Debt Relief can significantly reduce the amount you owe.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
Call or visit nationaldebtrelief.com to get started.
Oh my goodness! Is this for real? I pray for these moments.
Every touchdown from every game, every Sunday afternoon.
Largest comeback in NFL history.
Bug spray works best when your family actually wears it. Get odor-free 8-hour protection from mosquitoes and ticks without the ick. Zevo on-body repellent. People love it. Bugs hate it.
In today's Tech Bites, a bug fix on X. The social media site says it's corrected a glitch that caused images and tweets prior to December 2014 to disappear. Now, no details on what caused that bug, but X's support account says the issue will be fully fixed in the coming days. Well, Tesla owners can now use Siri to control their car. That's right, the latest update to Tesla's iPhone app supports shortcuts for some common tasks. So you can ask Siri to open the trunk and window and to adjust the media volume. But the update does not give Teslas a built-in voice control system. And finally, Snapchat appears to be expanding its use of artificial intelligence. Reports say Snapchat is developing a new feature called Dreams, where you can upload a selfie and AI would generate pictures of that person in different scenarios. Well, those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
518.
Good morning, guys. Well, things are moving along just fine over here. I know that we have dry roads here in town, so people really don't have anything to worry about. You're pointing your finger.
You brought up a good point earlier, though, with all the oil and dirt and everything like that, when it does start to rain.
Exactly. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen any showers, and I know that it's really going to be towards the southeast, right? So, folks out there, just be careful when you're making your commute. But right now, nothing to worry about on the roadways as we get a quick look around town. Thankfully, things have just been moving along. There's there is 281 at 410. We are taking a look around town, and traffic has just been moving along without any trouble. But as I mentioned, check your vehicles because we do at least have one stalled vehicle reported here at 35 southbound at US 90. It's not causing any issues for drivers, but just, again, make sure to move over or slow down anytime you see those flashing lights out there. Wide look at the map does show a quiet morning for a lot of folks out there, but expect things to ramp back up along FM 1535 Northwest Military Highway, we have curb and sidewalk installation. That's been current for a little while now, but the work will continue all the way up into the end of the work week. 7 in the morning to 6 in the evening. That is a very lengthy project, but be on the lookout for those lane closures there in both directions from Loop 1604 to Huebner Road. If you need to know before you go, you can scan this QR code that's on your screen now. It takes you to our KSAT traffic page. I have updated the list of current closures on our website, ksat.com/traffic. And before we jump over to Mike, I do want to see if we can bring it back here to TransGuide. Now, this stalled vehicle here that was reported along 90 at Nogalitos. Yeah, there you go, guys. We can take a look there. This is what was being reported earlier by TxDOT, but looks a little bit more serious out there with a very close-up shot. We do have a tow truck on the scene and as well as a first responder. Hopefully everyone's doing okay out there, Mike.
Great picture there. Thank you very much, sir. All right, can't avoid talking about what has happened, kind of the elephant in the room, if you will. Yesterday, we did hit 105, record high temperature, 56th day so far of triple digits. And even though we get the break today, there are no sure things in weather a lot of times, but this is about as much of a sure thing as you can get that we are going to continue to work our way up and pretty much overtake first place by the end of the weekend or the weekend. So, yeah, we're going to see more triple-digit temperatures. Here's what's going on right now. This is a camera over there by the airport looking off to the east, and probably see an okay sun. We've got some clouds out there right now. There is the beautiful tropical storm Harold, and you can see the counterclockwise circulation. Center of circulation is still offshore right here, and it's moving just about straight to the west, maybe a little bit of west-northwestwardly flavor to that movement. And we're already seeing the band of storms right there from just about Corpus Christi almost into Kingsville, not quite to Falfurrias yet, and then more well down to the south, moving in toward, already moved past Brownsville, as well as heading in toward McAllen. So here's computer model, and pretty much all the models are in agreement as far as what is going to be going on with this. We've got the rain, which will, again, start down to the southeast later on this morning. Our commute's going to be on the dry side, but we'll have some of those heavier showers well down to the south. And then as we get into late morning and early afternoon is when we're going to see the brunt of this rain down to the south. A couple of showers here and there, but again, the further north you go, the lesser the amount of rain. This will all continue to work its way in through our western counties later on throughout the day, and then by the evening hours really start to taper off, and by tonight pretty much it's going to be out of the area. Once again, up to the north, you're going to see minimal, if anything at all, the least amount of rain up there, and the most down to the south. We're looking at kind of a widespread 2 to 4 inches, and then obviously some heavier pockets on top of that. So there may actually be some flooding down to the south in spots with some of those localized heavier downpours here in town. About 1/4 of an inch of rain, if that, and then even up in portions of the hill country going up to 81, just about nil as far as rain is concerned. Now, as far as the rest of today, got that 20% chance of rain. This is taking into account well down to the south and east. So if you are by chance heading down 37 in toward Corpus Christi this morning, you will run into some of that rain. 90 at noon, and then 94 high temperature today. Again, the peak of the rain is going to be sort of the first half of the afternoon. Still some by dinner time. And again, this is all pretty much focused down to the south, the southern half of our area, and then out to the west as the afternoon rolls on. Now, going into tomorrow, like I said, after today, it's back to triple-digit temperatures. So we will continue to work our way up as far as the number of triple-digit days and surpass 2009. That's pretty much inevitable. We're going to be up right around 104 again by the weekend. But there's still that chance for then a couple of showers to pop up maybe by the weekend. So different sort of a pattern, obviously still very hot. Enjoy today, the lower temperatures, and watch it up in the hill country too. Not much rain up there, but then this whole system is going to make things windier. And so still that high fire danger out there.
I've had a giant awning over my grills on the back porch for weeks and weeks and weeks now.
Right.
Went ahead and took it down last night, brought it in.
Yes.
Didn't want it to go airborne later today.
Yeah, we're going to see winds, 15, 25 miles per hour, and then gusts on top of that. So.
Okay. Well, we'll prepare for something we hadn't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for the latest, sir. 524, 83 degrees.
And up next, Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell reunite to take your order once again, and a look at Wayne Shorter Zero Gravity.
A beloved Beefy franchise returns, a jazz legend gets a tribute, and a triple treat for fans of heavy metal animation.
CNN's David Daniel has it all in today's Hollywood Minute.
Hey, Jackson! Hey, man, you almost car-burgered me to death.
Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell reunite in the first teaser for Good Burger 2, returning as Dexter and Ed in a sequel to the 1997 feature film. It's set to debut on Paramount Plus this fall.
Jazz is like saying, once upon a time, and then fill in the blanks.
Saxophonist, composer, and bandleader Wayne Shorter shattered the limits of jazz in a career lasting more than 60 years. Wayne Shorter, Zero Gravity, charts the legend's life from adversity to greatness. The documentary, executive produced by Brad Pitt, debuts Friday on Prime Video.
What is the Song of Salvation?
Nobody knows. Well, do we at least know the running time? Nobody knows.
Does we at least knows what keys it ends in?
The Adult Swim heavy metal adventure Metalocalypse is back as an animated movie. Metalocalypse, Army of the Doomstar, sends the band on an all-new journey. The film is out today on digital and Blu-ray. 2 new full-length albums, Death Clock's Death Album 4 and the movie's soundtrack, also come out this week. Headbanging in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
528, 83 degrees.
And are you not getting paid enough for the job you do? Just ahead a look at how much American workers are now demanding when it comes to wages and starting a new job.
And more than 200,000 Nissans part of a recall. Up next, what you need to do so you don't lose control of your vehicle. Tropical Storm Harold making its way ashore this morning. Here's a live look at Corpus Christi. We'll get the storm's forecast track coming up.
And here at home, it's 83 degrees. We can't tell yet what's going to happen later this afternoon, but Mike has hinted that it will not be as hot as it has been.
Yes, good news today if you're careful. Good morning, everybody. Yes. Tuesday, it is August 22nd.
Thanks for joining us, and you can see the big news is behind us.
Yeah. Pardon us for turning our backs, but this is just a beautiful sight. You saw a couple of drops on that camera lens down there in that live shot around Corpus Christi, and yeah, it is moving on shore, so it is nice. It is beautiful to see, and not everybody's going to be seeing rain. That's kind of the downside. Folks down to the south, and we've been talking about this the past few days, going to be seeing definitely the lion's share of it. This picture will not really change throughout the morning commute. In other words, it's going to be a dry morning commute. Afternoon, different situation. But again, the majority of the rain stays well down to the south. 83 degrees right now. Dew point is back up there. So there's a fair amount of humidity. Winds out of the northeast at 6 miles per hour. So once again, here's another view of authority radar. And we've got those showers moving into Corpus Christi. Just kind of a wider shot. And you can see the center of circulation still offshore. And this is going to come onshore to the south of Corpus Christi and move sort of in a west-northwestwardly pattern, and that's going to keep the heaviest rain obviously down here to the southeast. One thing down to the south and southwest, pardon me, one thing to keep in mind also with this big spin here, and as this thing moves on shore, what can happen sometimes with these tropical systems when they come on shores, as those winds are kind of getting dragged, best way to put it, across the ground, and the friction with the ground, it can cause little spin-ups on the outer bands of these little tiny tornadoes. So that's something, they're not very strong at all, but that's something we'll just have to be on the lookout for later on today. Here's the numbers: 45 mile per hour winds and gusting to 60. And again, it's moving to the basically west-northwest. Good clip, 18 miles per hour, and that's going to bring it on shore. It'll still be at tropical storm strength when it moves across the southern portion of the state and then off into northern Mexico. Now, as far as who gets the rain, well, obviously the most is going to be further on down to the south, least rain up to the north. We're talking quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit more here and there, and even north of Bexar County, north of San Antonio, zilch as far as rain is concerned, 2 to 4 inches, and even some heavier amounts down to the south. We do have wind advisories, though. It is going to get breezy today, winds 15, 25 miles per hour, gusting on top of that, and also red flag warnings. Now, they're not for everywhere like they have been, but of course, this is kind of a double-edged sword with we get some rain down to the south, but it's also going to be a windy system and a big wind producer. And so where you don't get rain, there's the high fire danger. Mold is on the low side. And throughout the rest of today, 90 at noon. That's nice to see. We're all going to be well below 100 today. It's not going to last forever, though, back to the triple digits, but nice to see some of those showers and 94 for a high temperature. All right, what about the upcoming weekend? It's going to be a little bit interesting, maybe a couple of more showers. Details on that in a few minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen, got some problems out there still?
We do, Mike. Keeping an eye here at US 90 at 35. Now, our friends at TransGuide spoke to them earlier this morning, and we are getting a different shot of that same incident we showed you just a little earlier. And you can see that we at least have 2 lanes that are partially blocked at this hour. First responders are out on the scene, and earlier we did see at least one van that was getting ready to be towed away. About 2 or 3 first responders that we can make out there, but we're hoping everyone's doing okay because we do have traffic moving through US 90 at 35, a lot more than what we saw earlier. So just watch out if you have to travel through that area. Now, the good news is we are not seeing any delays. I've labeled this to an incident because we're still trying to work out exactly what's taking place out here. We saw reports of a stalled vehicle, but we will work to get that information confirmed for you. For now, I would just say drive safe. We've also updated that location to US 90 westbound at Nogalitos. So again, watch out as the commute does get moving. Thankfully for the majority of San Antonians and anyone that has to travel to San Antonio, no delays just yet. Lots of construction, but more on that a little later. Quick look at these travel times. The journey from Bernie along I-10 eastbound should be about 23 minutes at this hour. About 27 minutes if you are heading along 281 southbound from Bulverde, and it's a 24-minute drive time if you are traveling in along I-35 southbound from New Braunfels. But back here, flashing lights still out there at US 90 at 35. I'll keep a close eye on this, and let's hope we'll have a better update to report in the next few minutes. Steph.
Thank you, Stephen. Crews have been working all night to patch up a trench that suddenly opened up on a street on the northeast side neighborhood. That big hole in the ground threatened to swallow up a school bus. Katrina Weber is live on a street called Duck Lake, and it's in the Wood Lake subdivision off of Old Seguin Road. Katrina, we understand this is related to the dry weather we've been having.
Well, that's right. This is the result of an underground water main break that we had here on this street that crews have been trying to repair. We understand there are hundreds like this all across the city. Now, this particular crew just about to move out of here. They've been here all night long, and they were just finished making the repairs. About 15 minutes ago, we saw them as they started to refill the hole with dirt. Now, this is nothing like what people here got to see yesterday afternoon. They got quite an eyeful when this all started. A school bus that was attempting to turn around in this cul-de-sac suddenly sank into the ground. The back wheel got stuck in a trench that opened up all of a sudden. Now, neighbors were pretty upset. They told us they had been reporting that there was a water main break here for days. A spokeswoman for the San Antonio water system says a crew did come out this past weekend, and this area actually was on the list for repairs. However, she says that there are a lot of breaks and leaks, in fact, hundreds all across the city. And right now, that is due to all the dry weather. She says that the crews are working around the clock to make repairs like they did here. In fact, she says in this month alone, she expects the number of breaks and leaks that were reported to top out at more than 900. However, this one here on Duck Lake is repaired, and it's one that they can cross off that list. Reporting live on the northeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. Well, Americans will soon know if they'll need to be more patient with package deliveries.
UPS workers are voting on a tentative labor contract, which was recently agreed upon by the company and the Teamsters union. However, as CNN's John Lawrence reports, if the employees give a thumbs down, a strike could be imminent.
There's no other delivery service that can make up for the work that our workers do.
We all know what Brown can do for you. UPS officials say they averaged delivery of more than 24 million packages per day last year in more than 220 countries and territories.
Yeah, at least probably a couple times a month.
UPS and Prime, and you see the Prime vans all around.
However, there's a chance UPS workers will slam the brakes on those trademark Brown vans. Roughly 340,000 UPS Teamsters are voting on the tentative deal for a new contract that was agreed upon by UPS and the Teamsters a few weeks ago. In a statement, UPS CEO Carol Tomei called the tentative labor deal, quote, a win-win agreement on the issues that are important to Teamsters leadership, our employees, and to UPS and our customers. A final tally on that deal is expected Tuesday afternoon, and if the rank-and-file employees vote no, it could lead to one of the largest strikes against an individual U.S. employer in U.S. history, do significant damage to the U.S. economy, the nation's supply chain, and, of course,
I would imagine a lot of things wouldn't get delivered.
Among the sticky issues that caused problems with the contract negotiations were higher wages for employees, both full-time and part-time, and the tightening of pay gaps between UPS workers. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Happening right now in Pakistan, an urgent rescue effort underway as 6 children and 2 adults got trapped in a chairlift in a mountainous region in the country's northwest. That chairlift is hanging at a height of at least 900 feet. This is video from the scene. Those children were traveling to school in the lift when one of the cables snapped. Helicopters are now being sent to try to rescue those stranded passengers.
Federal investigators say United Airlines flight sustained substantial damage following a hard landing in Houston last month. The National Transportation Safety Board just published its preliminary report on United Airlines Flight 702. Investigators say after the 2 main landing gear touched down at George Bush Intercontinental Airport, the nose landing gear hit the ground 3 times. That report says 2 of the impacts registered nearly 1.6 times the force of gravity. The NTSB says 193 passengers and 9 crew members were on board the Boeing 767 at the time of the incident, and no injuries were reported. An examination of the aircraft revealed substantial damage to the crown of the upper fuselage. United Airlines says the plane is not scheduled for any more flights.
Your house is on fire! Get out!
An Ohio police officer was in the right place at the right time when he managed to help save a family from a house fire. New body cam video shows Officer Kevin approaching to the window of the home where he spotted flames from the outside. He quickly jumped into action, grabbing a water hose to help put out the fire. According to police, the homeowners were using a fire pit on their deck and they thought they put it out. Luckily, no one was hurt. Investigators are using this video as a reminder about fire pit safety.
And time now is 5:41 and 83 degrees for now.
A warning for some Nissan drivers, you could lose control of your car. We'll tell you about an important recall to fix that problem next.
And here at home, finally some changes on the way, but for now, we're at 83 degrees. We'll be checking in with Mike very soon. And welcome back. It's 5:44 in your morning consumer headlines. Nissan Sentra owners, here's a recall you don't want to ignore. Nissan is recalling more than 235,000 Sentras because drivers could lose control of them. The issue is a front suspension rod that can bend on certain impact, like hitting a curb. Nissan will send letters to owners in October inviting them to have their cars inspected if they experience steering issues. Then when replacement parts become available in the winter, all owners will be allowed to get the part replaced regardless of whether they have noticed issues. The affected vehicles are 2020 through 2022 models.
American workers now demanding record high wages to start a new job. A new survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows the average lowest wage rate at which a worker would be willing to accept a new job increased to more than $78,000 a year last month. That's up nearly 8% from July of last year. The survey also shows that college grads and men are the ones who are demanding more money. In fact, the survey showed that women's expectations were nearly $25,000 below what men typically expected.
And time now is 5:46 and 83 degrees for now.
Let's check TransGuide right now. There's I-10 at Frio going in and out of the downtown area. We'll see if there are any delays or trouble spots with Stephen Cavazos coming up.
Tuesday morning commute is off and moving. Let's get a look around town. 37 at Hackberry. Things haven't been too bad for the most part, but as you take a look, we are starting to see a little bit more traffic out there. There's 10 at the Y where people are moving this morning, but we did see at least one incident where it appeared to be a stalled van out here along US 90 westbound at Nogalitos. Since then, KSAT has cleared that from their website, and I'm not seeing any issues in that area anymore. Better news to report out there, but let's hope everyone else is doing okay. Wide look at the map doesn't show much else other than that construction that we can always expect to see later this week and also later this morning. Just be on the lookout here along State Highway 151 where we have excavation work taking place. This actually wraps today, but the work will begin again at 9 and should finish around 3 this afternoon. We'll see alternating lane closures on the westbound frontage road from Petrenko Road to Ingram Road. So just know what to expect before you have to travel through that area. 151, we've seen a lot of work taking place out there over the last few weeks. So just watch out for crews as the commute does get moving, but thankfully we're not seeing any delays at this hour.
All right, thanks, Stephen.
You bet.
Yeah, roads are good for now, but things may change later this afternoon.
Yeah, morning commute's going to be dry. Later on, like I said, we'll have a couple of showers around the area. Again, the overall majority of rain is going to be south. Up in portions of the hill country, probably won't see anything, unfortunately, and this won't be a drought breaker, but it's going to be nice. Here's the reason why we are seeing some of this rain is because the high, and this is the thing that's been plaguing us all summer long, has finally moved a little bit further up to the north. Not good news for folks up to the north, but around the clockwise rotation, this is what's allowing that tropical storm to move on in here. And this thing is pretty much going to be staying up to the north of us. Minor little fluctuations. Thursday would be the day. Tomorrow afternoon, Thursday, probably not going to see anything as far as any showers. But even as we go into the weekend, that high is going to be just far enough away from us. Still, it's going to be pushing down and keeping us in the triple digits as we go in through the rest of the week. Not today, but tomorrow through the weekend. But it will be in a position to allow at least little disturbances to move in here, give us that chance for some rain. Again, that's the situation right now. Here is the authority radar, and it's just beautiful to see some of that rain. It is working its way into Rockport right now, Corpus Christi, some of these showers and thunderstorms, and then this will continue its westward progress throughout the day. And as we get in toward the late morning hours and early afternoon, that's when we're going to see the majority of this rain. Some of those thunderstorms as well thrown on in. Again, it's going to be kind of, hit or miss. San Antonio further up to the north, a lot out there to the west, and of course down to the southwest. The other thing we're going to have to watch out for now, as far as rainfall amounts, obviously the heaviest down to the south, but there's also the severe threat associated with this. And the reason for that is as these tropical systems come on shore, and you've got this giant wheel spinning, if you will, as those outer bands are kind of dragged across the ground, is the simple way to put it. You might get little spin-ups along the outer bands, which would be on the north side of this, and then you'd get little tornadoes to develop. It's not very likely. It's not really that uncommon, though, with these types of systems. So that's why we're going to have to be on the lookout for that as well. There's the 20-30% chance for some of the rain down to the south and to the southeast this morning, and then again, it continues to work its way basically to the west, west-northwestwardly, the actual movement of the tropical storm. And better chance for rain is going to be late morning, going into early afternoon, about a 60% chance for rain. Then it starts to taper off as we go in toward dinner time and later than that. But 94 for high temperature today. That's it. Actually 2 degrees below normal. I think the first time we've been below normal around here in eons, it seems. Now, tomorrow, it's back up to triple digits. I don't think even a shower tomorrow. Nothing on Thursday. Then it's really going to start to heat up again Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but at least that small chance for a stray shower or two even over the weekend.
That would be wonderful, and the break today is going to be nice.
Yeah, everybody gets a break today, but with the higher winds associated with this and no rain up to the north, again, that fire danger is still going to be really high in the hill country.
Okay, we'll have to watch out for that. Thank you, Mike.
5:53, 82 degrees.
Look at your winning lotto numbers. Pick 3201, Fireball 7, Daily 4, 0179, Fireball 4.
Cash 5, 2, 22, 29, 31, 34, Texas two-step 2, 6, 8, 16 with a bonus ball of 32. And Powerball numbers 3, 4, 12, 22, 28, Powerball 16, Power Play 2. Good luck.
Good morning. Coming up, the latest on the new tropical threat targeting the south, set to make landfall in Texas as cleanup gets underway following Tropical Storm Hillary. Our team is tracking the very latest. Also this morning, mortgage rates hit the highest mark since 2000, what it means for your bills and the housing market, plus the new study on babies and screen time. Dr. Ashton is live with what parents should know. It's all coming up right here on GMA.
We are just days away from this year's KSAT Pigskin Classic. Tickets are on sale right now. Just scan the QR code on your screen to see all your ticket options. It kicks off Friday, followed by the triple header coming up on Saturday over at the Alamo Dome, and we hope to see you there. Well, top stories this morning, a scary situation for a bus driver and students on board this school bus after it got stuck in a collapsed trench on the northeast side. Up next, the repairs made so far to that roadway. And up next, summer is technically wrapping up. However, wildfire danger is sticking around. How fire crews out in Medina County are handling challenges as they try to stop a brush fire from growing. And TransGuide, a fairly uneventful morning, but we are expecting rain in the area and streets could be slick by the evening commute. We'll be back.